Hello everyone, and we are back with LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. I'm FancyPorg, your host, and we are doing Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which, as I've said in the previous video, is probably my favorite Star Wars film. Do not hate me. I just really like Episode 1 for the potential that it has and what it promises. So I am going to be skipping the text crawl as I've listed in other videos, because some people get hit with copyright claims and bullshit like that, even though they're talking over it. It's unfortunate, but you should play these games, and you can read the crawl. And here we are with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on the planet Naboo. It's quite a beautiful place. We see Gungans running every which way. And trade droids as well. And I don't remember the name of those animals, but I love the design of the animals in Star Wars. There are so many interesting creatures, interesting animals of all kinds. As I mentioned before, I'm not going to try and do True Jedi on all levels. If I do my free runs through them, I might do that. But it is usually very time consuming to get enough of the LEGO studs to actually accomplish that. Fortunately, you can use the Force to stun the droids. I believe you can also stun the Naboo, not the Naboo, the Gungans, and that would probably be mean though. But yeah, I'm getting hearts, and Qui-Gon is also deflecting. I think they have done some work on this in the last few months, because I don't remember it being... Like, I remember it being good and very solid, even after all these years, but I don't remember it being quite so solid. I know that the performance was not as good for a while. For some reason on PC, it just didn't do quite so well for a while. Oh! Well, that's surprising. But as I was saying before, it's usually not so frustrating when you get defeated in a LEGO Star Wars game, or LEGO game in general, because you just end up losing some of the studs, which you can get back through a free run. Free mode is usually the most fun, because you can use whatever characters you want, and that is usually a really enjoyable time. And as you see, I got one of the secret containers, which you usually have to do things that you wouldn't normally intuitively think of doing on a general run through the level. And with them you can build kits, mini kits, and they will usually display somewhere in the game, so it's a lot of fun for that. Here we got another droid, oop, and we got a cutscene. As I mentioned before, LEGO Star Wars was one of the first, so there are no voices. Oh, Jar Jar. Honestly, after having seen the film, at least in part recently, I can say that the interactions here without the voices are actually pretty enjoyable, and maybe in some cases more enjoyable than the actual film interactions, because I don't share people's wild and vehement hatred of the Gungans, and especially Jar Jar. There were a lot of controversies, but I think a lot of them were largely kind of, I don't want to say invented, because I know people have their opinions and their thoughts, and they're all valid, they're all worthy of acknowledgement. But I don't necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean I agree with them. And especially in that the just absolute hatred of Jar Jar. And it's always been a thing with Star Wars. It's always been a thing with Star Wars. Whenever there's a character who is cute, or whenever there's a character who is designed to appeal to children, or just coincidentally does appeal to children, there is this just absolutely vicious hatred that some people get for that character. And I think some of it is well-founded, but I think a lot of it is just kind of unreasonable. Like, it's not even equitable with the amount that the character may be kind of obnoxious or just too silly or something like that. And people don't think about either that characters like, for example, R2-D2 were characters that were really appealing to children. And it doesn't make those characters more annoying at all. And I just flung myself down a pit. That's what I get for talking while I'm playing a game. No! Ah! Ah! Okay, that was an exciting Jedi thing to do, Master Qui-Gon. Well done. But anyway, I think that a lot of the Jar Jar hate was really not fair. It was not fair to the character, and it wasn't really fair to his role in the films, or really the films. And there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, and even with the recent films, who just really want to try and make their basic dislike of a character into something that they want to insist is just like way more important than it really is. Like, I'm sorry guys, hate what you want to, dislike characters that you want to. It's a fictional work. You can dislike whomever you want, but don't try and make it more than it is. Like, if it genuinely is something that you feel is offensive to the very core of your being, I understand that. That is totally okay. But there are so many people out there that they'll just be very hateful and feel this need to legitimize it by making more out of it than it really is. I'm not saying that any one of you, least of all, is like that, but I've encountered a lot of that, which I think is really unfortunate. I would really like us to be able to enjoy the things that we enjoy, especially in fiction and, like creative things, without having to make it into something that makes it just horrible. Something that makes horrible something that really doesn't need to be as grave and as serious as all that. Something that is perhaps just silly or intended to appeal to an audience that you aren't. And you really don't need to hate that. Because hate is such a strong thing. And in this day and age, I think we've got enough hate, really, in the real world without having to have it applied to fictional stuff. But enough about that. I'm sure I'll be accused of politicizing this. But I'm not a Jar Jar fan, but I'm not a hater, dear. And as we go further into the swamps of Naboo, we will find it probably advantageous not to be a hater, because I don't remember how to, okay, it is Jar Jar. He jumps better than the Jedi do. Probably because he knows this area better. Oh! And there we go. He's opened up the next way. You may have noticed, of course, that this level is a bit longer than the previous level, and that's probably because the previous level was intended as an introduction to the game, which I think is good. And here we have more droids. Damn Trade Federation trying to take away the agency of the Naboo people. I think you're supposed to... oh yeah, there you go. There we go! We've made some sort of awful statue. Ah! Oh my. Be careful, Master. Ah! 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 Oh my! I have been assailed, beset upon by Trade Federation battle droids, some of which are stuck apparently in the landscape. Maybe I can reflect their blasts at them. and defeat them from here. Or maybe they'll just be forever stuck in the canopy of trees and such. That'll be good for Naboo. If the landscape can take care of the invaders, then we may just be set. Alright, let's try and get this big stud. I thought there was something around here. Is it Jar Jar? Jar Jar, do you have to do this? Yes! There we go. Oh, what the hell. Let's go. And here we are with Boss Nass and the Gungan bosses and such. Jar Jar doesn't want to be left behind, and with good reason. I always liked them going through the underwater portion of Naboo. I think it's interesting to acknowledge that there is an underwater civilization. I think the idea of that is really exciting. You know, like there's so much of the water on our world that we haven't explored, and it's just really thrilling to me to think that there might be a whole world underneath there that we have yet to explore. Because there is, in fact, a whole world underneath there that we have yet to explore. And there you have it. There is Chapter 2 of The Phantom Menace. So much potential. That's why it's so exciting. And I'd like to ask you, just as I did in the previous video, if you like these. I'm in kind of a weird place in life right now. There's a lot of stuff that isn't for sure. And of course that's the same as in any part of life. There's a lot of stuff that just isn't sure. But I am kind of relying on my Patreon, on my coffee. I've got links in the blurb. I'll have links on the screen. Please, if you can and you like what I do, think about tossing me a bit of support. And you know, I've got special extras, so if you give enough, you can get like free art, free things like that. And you're going to get free bonuses anyway. So please do consider, visit my page. See you next time, and thanks again for watching this time. Bye.